Good evening, guys, and happy Wednesday to all of your sunshiny faces. Guys, I just need to actually hop into my pajamas and get to bed. I am just like super exhausted right now because I was working upstairs today. I ended up getting to a couple things during the day, but then I think after the Cubs game was over, I ended up going upstairs to finished screwing in all of the floorboards, the subfloor stuff that was upstairs that still needed to be done, which I was able to finish the little spot that was still left sort of over my dad's closet area, his new closet slash office space, I guess, the little like cubby slanted roof space. We are actually adding that on from what it originally was. And so I ended up finishing the floor that was in that area, which was just, there was two very small pieces that needed to be done, and then there was like a little tiny piece that was like this big that just needed like 2 screws in it. And then there was a couple of screws, because we were using longer screws so that they could go straight into like the not the rafters, but you know, like the beams that, you know, run along the floor. So we were trying to get through to those, but in some places, because of the way we ended up doing the subfloor, because we put the I was telling you guys, like, the subfloor they had down was, I don't think it was even 1 inch thick. It might have been like 3/4 of an inch thick. I don't know if it was a full inch. Possibly was, but we ended up adding a 1/2 inch piece over it, because what they had done was they did smaller pieces, and so because of that, it wasn't like, there was a lot of like seams, and so the wood's like integrity wasn't like the greatest, because again too, it was possibly, you know, again, a little thinner, and also because they were in smaller pieces, you had a lot more seams, and so again, the wood wasn't like really large pieces, where again too, you distribute the weight out a lot more. In a lot of places, again, when it's smaller pieces of the wood, it's not like the weight when you're standing on it isn't distributed as well. So there was a couple like bouncy points in the floor upstairs, which again too wasn't even really like, nobody was gonna go through the floor. It was just, you kind of noticed it. So you know, everybody, like my dad and mom especially, were like, we really want to just have it so that it's like a little bit more like, you know, secure up there. So like I said, we ended up doing larger pieces and ended up putting them in. So the way we did it was we kind of crisscrossed. So where they ran their boards like going more like, you know, if you walked up the stairs, they were more going like horizontally. We did ours so that they were going vertically, so that they overlaid. And again too, you don't have as many of those, you know, again, the points that maybe don't have as much integrity, because they're covered over then by pieces that were like running this way. So because of that though, there was a couple spots where we weren't hitting like the beams, and so it's fine, because like again, in the large scale, we were using 8x4 pieces, I think, or something like that, 8 foot by 4 foot pieces of the you know, like I said, the plywood subfloor. And so again, we didn't have to hit all of the beams, but in some points where, you know, again, because the beams normally go every foot or so, in some points where it was like a little off, like, you know, again, it was further over this way on the one piece than it was on this way, we had smaller screws so that we could just do it just through, so that again too, you don't end up kind of just, you know, it doesn't like warp or anything like that, and then causes it to kind of raise up. So we made sure we did it around the corners, even if we weren't going to hit the you know, the beams, because again too, like I said, it's every foot, so we were hitting them on most of the parts, but in some parts, like I said, you might be where it's a little bit off. And then also too, like upstairs where the door is, there's not like a beam, at least that I could find or that I hit, that was like right next to where the stairs are. So it's like a little bit further over from where the stairs are. So what, again, I just did is, so again, in case for whatever reason we just don't want it like warping up so that then you got problems with, you know, like the board coming up near the stairs, I just put the smaller screws in so that they would sink into just the prior subfloor that was there. So like I said, we had like something to grab onto so I could sink them in, because we also don't want the screws sticking up, because when we go to do the floor, obviously, you know, even if it's just like a little tiny bit, you're going to notice that when you go to do like the floors, because we're not doing carpet up there, which was what was up there previously. So that's why too, again, the people that did the floors before us, there was a little bit of like some of the like, you know, screws and nails and stuff like that were sticking up a little bit, and they weren't sunk into the plywood. So we did that so that, again, too, when we go to do probably doing vinyl floor upstairs, like hardwood, like the vinyl flooring. And so because of that, we don't want any of those things sticking up. Again, too, we don't really want any of those imperfections either, because with that you're going to notice a lot more than you would with carpet. Whereas, again, too, you put padding down for carpet and that kind of stuff, you might notice it a little bit more. And you'll notice if it doesn't start to sink up, like they might kind of, you know, like with, again, we have the bathroom tiles, like the subfloor, there's a little bit of an imperfection in there, and you can notice it in the tiles are actually starting to like gap away from each other because of that. So again, we don't want to have any problems with that upstairs, and we wanted to make sure that, again, we got all this stuff down, you know, again, properly, and, you know, we were using the right screws for it and that kind of stuff as well. And the problem with the bigger screws is that they won't sink in far enough if it's not like hitting the beam. So that's why we were having, you know, we were using the smaller screws. So I ended up doing that in a couple spots, because like I said, there was a couple spots where like it was, the next set of screws were further over than where the edge of the board was. And so I just wanted to make sure that, again, too, it doesn't cause it to warp or anything like that. It'll still be attached to something, you know, again, and like I said, it's like less than a foot in each of those spots. So it's not a problem with, again, it needing to be secured down that way. Just like I was saying, you know, we just, again, don't want it to cause it to pop up at some point, and then we have a problem with the flooring when we put it down. But our flooring guy said that when he does it, he will put like leveling, I don't know, compound or something like that down, so that even too, if we do have some imperfections in the floor, it shouldn't cause any issues with it as well. So like there is one problem though that we had where we ended up moving. So there was the wall that was built, where we then ended up expanding onto that, where we're, like I said, adding my dad's kind of closet office space. But because of that, the beam there for some reason is raised higher up, and it's like right where the stairs are, so that could be why, possibly. But because the wall was there, you didn't notice it. Now that we moved the wall, there's a very, like, not a large gap, but like it's definitely raised, and we tried as hard as we possibly could to like try and fix it, and there's really nothing that we can do. So most likely what we're gonna have him do is probably just put the stuff that you put in, like in the doorway, I forget what it's called, like the little, you know, little metal pieces a lot of times that are like in the doorways. We're probably going to have him put one of those in there, and so that, because like I said, there's kind of that change a little bit in the elevation of the floor, because that was previously the attic. So again, you would have never noticed it, because the door, you know, you walk through and there's, you know, that change. It's literally like millimeters, like fractions of millimeter probably, but again, too, you definitely notice it in that, from, you know, like I said, just a little bit of that height difference, and it'll probably show up in the floor, and that's something that I don't really think he'll be able to fix, even with like that leveling compound. So that's why my dad's like, he'll probably ask him what he thinks about it, and then, you know, if he doesn't, you know, like the solution or whatever, my dad might say too, like, if you want to just put that, you know, that like stripping kind of stuff in there, to make it so that, again, you don't notice it and it's not obvious that it's there. So that's really the only thing that we've, I guess, had a little, I don't want to say trouble with the floors. Like everything else has been pretty much flawless. It's just, again, too, when we go to do the flooring, that might come up as being a slight little bit of an issue. But again, we already kind of have a solution most likely for it, which shouldn't be too big of a deal. So everything else though got done. As far as the other floorboards goes, like I said, I put in a couple spots some of those smaller screws, and then I ended up doing, there's over in my mom's office space, I finished all the big boards, but then again too, because we weren't, you know, the whole space wasn't, you know, perfect, you know, again, 8x4, you know, 5 times for the boards or whatever we ended up using there. We needed a little bit more extra fill in some of the spots for the where the floor was, specifically where we did it was like over by the window. So like we had, again, it was probably like maybe about a foot or a little more than a foot of the extra pieces that we needed to put in for the subfloor there. So I ended up attaching those pieces today. And then also too, for when he does the drywall at the bottom part, the floor, well, I guess like the beam that's there that he would most likely be attaching the drywall to, is actually, it was already underneath the subfloor, but somehow I don't know how they attached the subfloor, or they attached the drywall still to the like to those pieces. I don't know, but now that we added the extra 1/2 inch, there's not enough room for him to probably grab to put like the when you put the drywall up, for him to screw that in. So we needed like little like 1x1 kind of like stripping pieces, or like the furring strip sort of, to put in so that he'll be able to have something to kind of screw into when he goes to put the drywall up. So I put those in today also, which I got all of them up except for one that there was an outlet over, so I couldn't actually get the drill in there. So my dad has a different type of drill that's like an angle drill that he can put the drill, like the screw in, using that. So it was the only one that I didn't get done. And then there's one spot where my dad still has to add a 2x4 for the wall, so he didn't cut that piece yet. So I finished all of that today. And then I still have, which I probably won't do tomorrow because I'm a little sore and tired, I'm gonna try and possibly do it on Friday, is put in the last pieces that are in like my mom's closet area slash the little, like a little bit of the hallway space right outside the attic door. Those pieces are not done yet, and that's the only thing that I have left to do, and then a couple more of those other little furring strips that have to be done against that wall. Then on the other wall though, we also need some of those strips as well, but I can't put those in because they have to go on an angle because there's actually nothing below it. Like I was just screwing it into the piece that was below it. These ones don't have any piece below it. Instead, my dad's gonna have to do it off of the like the studs from the side and do it at an angle, and I most likely won't be able to do that. And even if I could, I don't know if I'd be able to get it flush against, like, because it's really difficult when they're such small pieces, they move a lot. And so I was having trouble too, where like I was like, if as soon as I like start to get it to like grab like the screw into like the other piece, it was starting to like move, and I was like, this isn't going to be good, because like when that happens, it starts to kind of like pull away from where you actually have it. So I had to like hold it down, try and screw it at the same time, and they were still like kind of sliding a little bit. So like I said, I'm not going to try and do that. I'll let my dad do that. But he has all the pieces for the wall that still needs to be built in his closet area. And he has all those cuts. Then he got the other 2x4, so he's still going to need to finish the other wall. And everything else, I think for the most part, like I'm hoping actually that we should have all the walls done. Again, I should probably be able to finish the floors by Friday easily. And again, those other little pieces that I have to do. But then after that, I'm thinking that my dad should probably actually be able to get the walls put up by this weekend, which would be really awesome. So I think my parents have got a birthday party they're going to on Saturday, and other than that, they don't have anything going on this weekend, so I think that my dad should be able to actually get that all done, which would be really awesome if we could get all the walls up, because then after that we just have to finish the electric, and then we have to finish the insulation, and then they can drywall, and then we should be good to go. And I'm thinking too, the like electric might take maybe again another weekend, and then the following week maybe we get the insulation done, and then again they can come out and get the well, we have to have him replace the window upstairs too, which I think we're just having him replace all the windows upstairs. So like I said, I think that's kind of it. But my dad was hoping for 4th of July weekend to at least get maybe the drywall, at least be ready for the drywall, whether or not he's going to be able to come out, like, you know, prior to that or whatever, but like on our end be done by the 4th of July. And so might get close, but I don't know. I think it might be maybe a little bit longer than that, because we don't even have all the insulation right now. But the insulation actually shouldn't take long to do. The insulation will probably be quick. I think the building the walls and still the electric will probably take a little while. Again, the insulation is like Matthew and Jack could probably do that, but we have to wait for the window to be completely done before we can put all the insulation up. So again, I'm not entirely sure, like I said, what that looks like as far as schedule and stuff like that goes, but I'm thinking too, yeah, we might be done in maybe about 2 or 3 weeks with everything that we can do. And then we're just kind of waiting on that. But again, I got through a lot of that today, and it was so hot upstairs. I actually didn't realize how much I was sweating until I came down into the air conditioning, and I was freezing cold when I would walk downstairs because of how much. I honestly went to go and take a shower, and I was like, I could have probably wrung out my clothes because of how much sweat was in them. It was like somebody pushed me in a pool. My clothes were soaking wet. It was hot upstairs. But the weird thing is that like the other couple days when I was working up there, when it was really hot, felt worse, but like it was hotter I think today, and I think I sweat more today, but for some reason it actually wasn't as bad. Like I was like, I probably could have kept going if it wasn't like close to dinner time and I wasn't starting to get hungry, but I don't know, it actually didn't feel that bad like working upstairs. So yeah, like I said, I don't know, but after that, like I said, I took a shower, we had dinner, and then I ended up we actually ended up watching the new episode of Secret Invasion, and we ended up using my dad's Father's Day gift, which we got him a new projector for Father's Day. And so he had one that I think we got him like 2 Father's Days ago, maybe, or 3 or something like that. We got it for him a little while ago, and all of a sudden it just stopped working. Like, I don't know, it didn't even sound like it was like running anymore, so we think maybe it was like the generator, not generator, but like the like, I don't know, something on the inside, like, you know, nothing was like making noise when it would turn on. So we assumed it wasn't the light bulb, because if that was the case, the light bulb probably would have just like, it would have still sounded like it was on, because it makes like noise like the fans and, you know, that kind of stuff. But like it wasn't making any noise anymore, so we just assumed it wasn't working, and we ended up not having it for a little while. I think we tried to use it maybe a couple months ago, and then for Father's Day we got my dad a new one, which was, I think, a much better one. We actually got a really good deal on it, and it was typically very expensive actually on Amazon. It was on sale, and then for some reason when my mom went to go and place the order, it was like even cheaper, and so it was super awesome. But we ended up replacing that and got him that for Father's Day. We already had the screen and everything like that, and we even had the hooks up and all that kind of stuff. The only thing is my mom had some hanging plants on the hooks because we hadn't used it in so long. So we had 2 hooks though that we actually got at Menards, like garden hooks. So we moved them over to the window, hung her plants over there, so that's what my dad did today, and then moved her plants so that they're in front of the window now. And then we actually used the projector screen hooks for what they're for, and was able to watch that today. So that was really cool because we had the surround sound going. It was like we were literally at the movie theater, except we weren't, which is cool. So like I said, anyway, it was a fun day of getting to do that, but the upstairs work was kind of a pain. So now that that's done, at least I have just one section left, which again, I'm thinking I could probably get done in one day. It's just, I don't want to overdo it, so I'm probably take tomorrow and just, you know, get some other things done. Like I still need to make my grocery lists and all that kind of stuff. And then on, like I said, Friday, when my dad will probably be working upstairs doing the walls, I can do the floors then at the same time. So Anyways, I will let you guys know though what else we were able to get done, but I will see you guys all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye guys.